All right, good evening. How we doing, investors? Sorry, just a couple seconds behind. Should be able to see the screen. I lost my my spreadsheet didn't update, so I just had to update it there real quick. I don't know what happened. Didn't save. You guys should be able to see that spreadsheet, and now that I got it updated, we can get it posted on the page there. Anyways, middle of your screen, nice and big. We have the portfolio there. We have a few things to talk about, and then we will get cranking. Move on to some other stuff. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to type it right into that little questions box, and we'll address it. If you do not have a question or would rather email, you could send that to Dustin@tradingwings.com, and we'll take care of it there. All right, first thing, we got a new play on the menu. We have WY. Let's take a look. We have been watching this one for some time now. And if you look up here on the daily chart, what we were looking for most recently, the way it had set up there, was a move up and over 30.75, which was just going to take us over this range right here. And today, WY finally decided to get started and do something, finally. Remember, we talked about this being the symbol that if you're new to TW investors, or you just like to play one position at a time, this is not the one you want to play as one only play. You know, if you are comfortable having a few positions at the same time, building a little portfolio, then that's fine. You could play along. But this one's going to be pretty slow. All right, so just a heads up there. Hopefully it's fast. I mean, we'll take it if it wants to take off. But we've been waiting for this for some time, and finally we got our entry on it. So if you take a look on our screen there, we will put it. We need to put this. That didn't even save either. Spreadsheet problems. Today is the 14th. We got an entry price of 30.75. Our stop is going to be right here at 28.29. If you'd like to see this a little bit bigger, you could go on the TW Investors page, and actually you'll be able to see a chart there as well. I took a snapshot of the chart with our entry price that we were looking for, with our stop and our two targets. So you can check it out there if you like. Dang. All right, there we go. MSCC is our most recent one. I'm sorry, this whole thing did not even save. This is really annoying. 30.80. All right, well, that's where we're at with that. MSCC, our second most recent play. If you're just joining us for the first time, you see a couple symbols up here. And what we do is all the symbols that have hit our first target get posted up here. It says T1 hit. That means we hit our first target. All the symbols that have yet to hit our first or second targets are posted right down here, just so you can see the quotes and how they've done for the day. All right, so that is what you're looking at there. MSCC, we also posted on our members page. We were looking for $22, and we got that yesterday. Saw a slight improvement today in price. Remember, this one is a lower volume stock, right? So this can have these really quick up or down moves. So just a heads up for that. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. So it's looking good. Today was a little bit better on volume, so I was a little excited to see that. But overall, it's a low volume name, just like that FBHS. Whenever we took that, we said, well, got to be careful. It's a little low volume. On our spreadsheet, some things to take a look at. We are raising targets. What I do, if you're joining us for the first time, is I highlight the cells that I want you to focus on. And these in particular, these cells are new stop adjustments. And so these yellow prices here, the cells that are highlighted in yellow, is an opportunity that we've had to reduce our risk, or sometimes we'll say raise our stop. Since we're currently all long, what we're doing is just raising our stop up, and it causes us to reduce risk less on the play. And then over here to the right, sometimes what happens is our plays they do so well that they go up to the first target really fast. Meaning, I'll take this FBHS as an example. So sometimes, and this would be like the 5th time we've raised the target on this one. What we did is if you haven't been around for a while, then you haven't had a chance to play this with us, and that's okay. This is one of our older plays, and we played it right over this range. We just bought it, new highs, right, up to new highs, and apparently so did everybody else. And we set targets along the way for different prices. So we'll have the target here and a target here, right? And as we get close to them, sometimes what happens is we move really quickly into a target. And if I get the chance to alert you guys, I'll say, okay, let's raise our target. And so that's all we're doing here. We had a target of $37 for our next target, and we're just going to raise that up to $38.50. That's all it is. If you would like, you could use 37 as well, and you say, well, no, I'm happy with this. I'm going to get out. I'm just going to I keep raising the stop. So we're shooting for $38.50 now and give us a return of close to 25% on that one. So we'll see what happens on FBHS. So when you see that part in yellow, that's all that means. We were shooting for this number, say here, and now we're just going to assume that we can get a higher price. So we're being greedy, if you want to put it that way. Now, a lot of people would say, you shouldn't do that. When you pick a target, you should stay with your target. Don't, as soon as you get greedy, the market takes it away from you. And that's true. I would agree with that most of the time. The catch here is we have been in this position, and a lot of the others, so long where we've already hit our first target. That's why you see it with a strike through there, that we're guaranteed to make money even if we don't hit this target. So on the first batch here, we were able to make some money on that, 8-9%, and now we're shooting for, say, 25% on the second target. But if it doesn't go to this new higher number and goes all the way down, we will get our 8% here that we've already put on the account, and we're going to get another almost 5% over here. Okay, so we shoot for 2 targets. On the first target, we've already made our money. On the second target, if we get it, great. It'll be real exciting. It'll be quite a nice winner. But if we don't get it, we're still going to make money on it. And that's why we raise our targets as we go. As you look through here on the list, same thing with target, the symbol TGT. We've already hit our first target. So we've already made quite a bit of money on this play, and now we're just shooting for a little bit more. Now, if target goes to this number of $69, great. If it does not go to this number, we'll say we made about whatever it is, 8% here on the first target, and we broke even on our last position. So we won't make any money, but we won't lose any money. All right, and so that's why we raise our targets from time to time. Another one, a good example, is Boeing. I'll go over the chart in just a second, but we're raising that target to $87 now. Okay, so we're shooting for a little bit more. Now we've already made money, right? On the first piece right here, we made about 8%. So right here on Boeing, we already have 8% profit that it's in the account. Can't take it away from us. And if Boeing goes all the way back down and hits our stop price, we're only going to lose 3% at the moment. Right? So we're guaranteed to make money on Boeing as well. So we can afford to be greedy, basically. And so what you get to do is, as you build a portfolio, you can kind of hand pick and say, well, I notice this FBHS is doing really well. What I'm going to do is shoot for a lot more, just for bragging rights. So you could say, oh, I made 25% on this one play in what, 2.5 months, really. So that's pretty cool. So then on Boeing, same thing. It's exciting. This has been a really fun moving symbol since we bought it. Remember, we bought basically the long-term breakout, real simple, just a straightforward play there. And apparently everybody else wanted to play that as well. You love when that happens. And so since we've already locked in a good profit and have made that money already, we're just going to shoot for a little bit more. So really it's kind of a fun way to manage a portfolio because we have nothing to lose. So if we hit 87, our chances are if we get to 87, I'll raise it again. We'll just shoot for even more, and then we'll raise our stop as well. We're going to raise our stop to at least break even on Monday. If you're brand new and you're just starting to invest with us, just working with us for the first time here, we only adjust our stops on Mondays, and that just keeps it. There's two reasons that I do this. The first reason is it keeps it fair for the people that can't be around all week and they don't want to look at the members page and they don't have the time and they just want to catch up every now and then and see how the portfolio is doing. So you know that if you check in with us on Monday, you're going to see what our new stops are. Okay? And the second reason that we do that is so that you can't get emotional if you know you only have one shot to raise a stop. So think of the headache. If you have these positions and you're trying to adjust stops all week long and you're going to get a little more out of Boeing, I'm going to raise a stop on this one, it's too much, right? So really, you only need to go in there once a week. Yeah, but you don't have to pick Monday. You could do a different day if you like. But you really just need to go in there once a week and adjust everything. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself crazy trying to place all these orders and change them and stuff. So that's the reason we do that. So you can guarantee that these will change on Monday. I'll never adjust them throughout the week, and so you don't have to worry about. I know some of the other places do that where they say, "Oh, we adjusted our stop. We got out." The stock falls apart, and you're still sitting with it, and they say, "Oh, I got out." So you know that we only do that on Mondays. If a stock falls through a stop on a Wednesday, you can reference that same stop price that we use, and that's what it'll be. All right. And so then Maura's asking a question that hopefully answers your question. Yes, our stop is at 62. Oh, sorry. Let me get my screen here. Let's use a different color. All right, so our stop price on target is still break even, which means it's right at our entry price. We bought it at 62 on the 24th of January. And at the moment, yes, right, there's no adjustment. Now again, if maybe you're a little more active and you say, hey, you're ridiculous, man. I would like to. I'll move my stop whenever I get the opportunity. That's cool. I'll leave it here, and I'm going to assume that there shouldn't be any problems. If you think about it, I mean, what's going to happen? Is Target going to come all the way down here tomorrow? I hope not. But we'll adjust it again on Monday. All right, and that's great. I mean, Target's been pretty exciting too. Same with Boeing. I mean, you look at Boeing and you think, oh, who are you in your right mind? You should just take all your money and leave. Well, maybe, but think of the way that we manage this portfolio. The way that I do it, basically I have almost all the money in the bank already. We've taken 3/4 of the profit off the table. We've already hit that target. So basically I'm happy. You could assume this Boeing is a play that's over and done with. But just for fun, what if we could get one more piece a little bit further? And, sometimes this one piece adds up quite a bit. So for this side, this area right here, full target, I mean, obviously we only have 1/4 of the position on, right? So it's really unemotional fun, just see. It doesn't matter what happens. You're just kind of excited to see if you can hit that higher number. So it's good stuff. And you never know when the opportunity might come that we could add back. So that's probably 2 key points to cover. Obviously going to break even at least on Boeing, not a problem. That's probably where we'll move the stop on Monday, $78. And you'd expect, I keep expecting Boeing's going to pull back here eventually, but it hasn't at the moment. Right? All right, let's move down here to some of our newer symbols. We cover these a lot. MTGE, still waiting on it up and over the highs. Getting a little boring here. Remember, we're looking here to get the same idea as Boeing. Just pop it over those highs and I'll bet it gets exciting. Just like Yahoo that we played last summer, just like this Boeing, FBHS, all these ones that we played over the highs. It's just like, it just wants to, and there's a ton of people just sitting there waiting. We got this one just a little bit early, and so that's what we're waiting for there. So we'll be patient there. Gold miners had a decent day. Well, everybody kind of had a good day today, but the gold mining stocks had a decent day. Getting a little, like we talked about on Tuesday, whenever you try to pick the bottom of a stock, you have to deal with this stuff here. This is why we do not set up a whole portfolio of stocks like this where we say, well, it pulled back, it's on sale, you know, it must be a good place to buy it. It's a headache is what it is, because you have to deal with this back and forth. All the people that are trying to short it one more time, some of the people wanting to take their profits, more people trying to short it one more time saying, nah, gold's going to fall apart, and then us, right, trying to just pick a little bottom here. So this is why we don't mess with this stuff. This is annoying to watch because any day it could gap down big on you, and what are you going to do? You know? So just a handful of these symbols. AEM, good day, right? Good day for gold miners, and I'll say the same for AUY. Decent day. Nice to see that. Feels like we got it, right? Feels like we're close, but like I said, anybody's guess when you're trying to pick the bottom there. So if you like this sort of thing, you could probably handle a little more stress than I can. Where was it? Yesterday, our AEO had a decent day. Like I said, if there's any one of them that have lost faith on, it's this one. Just had such a great move, and to see it gap down like that sucks. So hoping that we're not falling back into this back and forth, nothing sort of range here. But at the moment, as of yesterday, I thought that was kind of impressive. If we could see less selling going forward, maybe we'll start a slow push. So we'll see. That's like we said, that's our problem child of the portfolio. It's not looking too bad overall for what we're in it for. Only down 2%. Maybe if we could get a good finish tomorrow for the end of the week, maybe we could raise our stop a little bit. That'd be great. United Technologies up to new highs today. Did hit new highs. I don't believe it closed a new high. Nope, closed just off new highs. But we did poke our heads up there towards 93.50. That's a good sign. Remember, we're shooting for 99 as our first and more than likely our final target, since we're going to run into that $100 number. Same as these other ones that we're playing, FBHS and stuff. I mean, clearly, we bought it right here in this little breakout, and clearly everybody else has decided to play it with us. So that's always good there as well. Not to mention the market's just pretty much straight up, so kind of everything just going with it. Our A run, not doing too bad. Slow trend like we talked about on Tuesday, that when you have these big exciting moves right here, that a lot of the times the stock will just go flat on you until the moving averages catch up. Right? In this case, we're moving up a little bit. Right? That's okay, but don't be afraid if it starts doing this back and forth, right, and does this for a while. So I'm kind of expecting that. I'd be okay with that. So just a heads up, if we do notice that, I don't think there's anything to worry about. So we'll see. Like I said, I think the longer that it stays, kind of in this area and letting the moving averages catch up, I think the better off we are for the bigger move. If it happens to pop over the next couple of days and takes off, well, maybe we'll get our first target, but I don't think we'll get as big a move out of it. The idea being, if you're new, brand new investor, the idea being focus on this one. This is kind of our best one. There's two things that we look at, and I won't spend too much time on it, but two things that we look at. Number one, when we're going to buy a stock, it will always be because of the weekly chart. And all that means is that each one of these bars here, these candlesticks, the green and the red, each one of them is representing 1 week's worth of trading. That's all it is. So we'll look at our weekly chart, which is always on the left side of my screen, and we'll say, okay, well, is there a reason that we should buy it? And in this case, yes, a lot of the symbols they just happen to be breakouts right now because the market is higher and higher, right? So once we buy it, the best case scenario for the biggest, longest trend that you can get is if on the daily chart, which is over here on the right, it does this. Now, and by this, I mean, look at my green line right here and look at my blue line, right? And notice how the price never gets away from either one of those lines too far. Still to this point, it's not that far away. At this point, this was the furthest away it was from my green line. Over here, a little bit far, right? And notice how every time it gets just a hair too far, it's going to come back real quick, and then it's going to keep going. And we will assume that it's going to keep going because of what we did on a weekly chart, our entry, our strategy. So we'll assume that every time it gets a little far, we go, oh, okay, well, that was fun, guys. It made a nice move there, and in this case right here, it hit our target. And we'll say, okay, now just be ready. It's going to pull back. But we assume it's going to keep going. And then when it gets a little too far ahead, so oh, well, just, we're going to have to sit through a few days of this getting calm, and then hopefully we'll get going again. And sometimes if you're lucky, I mean, like Boeing here, see, like this one is so far away, everybody got so excited. When have you ever seen Boeing that far away from its moving average? I mean, this, I would bet historically in the last 5-6 years, this is about as far as you've seen it. I mean, it has its moments, but this is one of the furthest distances that it's been from this green line in a long time. So we're assuming at this point, we're going to have to come back or at least go sideways for a little bit until those lines catch up. So, and that's why I say this move here is short term. Thank goodness we hit our first target. So we only have a quarter of the position left. Now we can just see what happens and have fun. But whenever you buy a stock and it goes so fast, it's not going to be that long of a move. It's going to take a break and you're going to have to sit back and wait. But if it goes slowly, it's not exciting. There's nothing about FBHS that's been exciting, but it's consistency. You got money on the line. You want something consistently moving higher. It can be slow. Who cares if it takes a month or 2 months in this case? If you're going to make, 20%, 15%, what does it matter? 25% almost. Who cares how long it takes, as long as it doesn't take, I guess 10 years or something. But in this case, we're playing a weekly chart. So it's just how many weeks. And this is very slow and kind of boring. That's what I like. If I could build a whole portfolio of those, I would be a happy camper because it's slow. There's nothing too exciting, nothing too scary when it drops, right? No big, huge moves down, no big, huge moves up. And you just know it's a matter of time. I'm going to keep riding that. Keep raising, reducing my risk. I'm going to keep shooting for higher and higher targets, and one of them eventually is going to hit. All right? And so that's what we're trying to build here. Okay, so in the case of Boeing, that's why I keep saying any day now it's going to pull back. Now we don't have to guess which day because we're not betting on that direction. We're just holding the stock. I think they pay a pretty decent yield dividend too, or used to. I think they raised it the other last month or something because of the that whole airline, the battery problem they're having with the plane. And so anyways, that's what we're looking for. And so we continue to do that. On Macy's, see, something like this. Now this one would be okay. Fresh up to new highs, we got our entry, and if it wants to slowly just plug along, great. I hope it turns into another one of those FBHSs. Although Macy's doesn't they're not as profitable, I guess. Earnings aren't the greatest, so we'll see what happens. But hopefully it's a slow and steady. You have your small up days and small down days, occasionally a big one and occasionally a little one, but you never have this huge streak of big long days because usually that's going to be short term. Slow and steady moving up, never too far away from the moving averages there, that's going to be a long term one. MSCC, we talked about that. It looks good. And then WY, I covered that as well, our slow poke. So it's all good. Oh, DG had a good day today, by the way, too. Closed just a hair over the 200-day. And all that means, really, if you're a new investor, the red line here is the 200 moving average. And all the short definition of that is this line is a math equation. And what it's doing is saying, okay, the closing price of today was this. The closing price of yesterday was this. The day before was this. And it goes back 200 of these candles and says, what's the closing price for the last 200 days? And it goes and goes and goes, blah, 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 right? And then it says, now add that all up together and divide it by 200. And what's the number you get? Well, today the number you get is about 4870. So add up all these for the last 200 days, divide it by 200, and that number is about 4870. That's all it is. And remember the discussion we had on Tuesday about what does that even matter? Why? Who cares if it's 20, 50, 200? What? Who cares what the number is? Go back to the discussion from the other day. And I'll explain to you why people, and us as well, focus on these three moving averages. Really, the other ones don't matter. Probably the 20 doesn't even really matter for us either. People focus on the 50-day moving, let's be specific, 50-day moving average, 200-day moving average, and the 10-week moving average. Those are the most popular. So if everybody's looking at them, we should be looking at them as well. All right. I think we're in good shape. Oh, and then I told you I wouldn't take this one, but I'll follow it with you. If you guys play on Baidu, 87.50 was the short entry, and off to a good start, right? Had a nice day today, and by that I mean, down day. The market was up, so think about that. That's how you know this stock is pretty weak. The market was up and up decently, right? And Baidu was down more than the market was up. So on a good strong day in the market, nobody came to Baidu and bought it. Nobody was interested in buying it still. So you're looking good on that one. Good job if you're playing that one short. And I'll continue to track it with you, but I didn't play it, for the record. All right, I am going to wrap it up for you guys. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me at dustin@tradingwings.com. I'll get back to you pretty quickly. Don't forget to check the members page. Actually, we're all loaded up. We have no new potential plays. There won't be any for tomorrow. We're all set. We're all taken care of, so we should be all updated here. We'll start Monday off with our adjusted stops, right? So this is what they are so far. We go through, and in the letter on Monday, there'll be a whole new set of cells. The prices will change, and they'll be highlighted again. Some of these down here will be highlighted, and all of these will change, or not all of them, but as many as we can. And so you check that out on Monday, and then we'll talk about those again on Tuesday. All right. All right, so have a great rest of your day or evening. Thanks for stopping by. And we'll talk soon. Good night.